to Pro Talk. I am the Mighty Ova, here with my main man, the feature analyst of this show, George Radney from the Challenger Community News, and our special guest with us here, Donald Jones, former Buffalo Bill receiver. How you doing, George?
Doing great, and welcome everybody.
Donald, how you doing, man? Thanks for joining us here on Pro Talk.
Hey, man, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, we're honored to have you on the show. Former Buffalo Bills standout Donald Jones entered into the league in 2010 as an undrafted free agent out of Youngstown State and became one of the premier receivers for the Buffalo Bills for a 3-year stretch. It is a pleasure to have him on, and he's also my Prince Hall Masonic brother. Glad to have you on, bro.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, man. It's good to be on the show talking some football.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're in the middle of the NFL season. Donald, tell me, what are you thinking about the Buffalo Bills 4-1? First, let's talk about the positives. What do you think about the Bills right now at 4-1?
I think right now, the obvious positive of the team is the defense. The defense is what's holding this team down right now. I mean, you have some guys on offense that are making some plays, but I think the obvious is the defense. That's why they are 4-1 right now. And hopefully, the defense can continue to play like that. But we all know throughout the course of the season, the defense is going to have a bad day.
No doubt.
They have a bad day, and your offense is not up to par, you end up losing that game. So I think, and we've seen that with the Patriots.
No doubt about it.
So I think when you talk about positives, you have to look at the defense. I think when you think individual players, you can look at a guy like Duke Williams now, who, obviously he's going to be a big part of this thing. Frank Gore, the old man, still getting it done.
Still getting it done.
Still getting it done. Been in the league since I was in elementary school.
Oh wow!
There's definitely some positives on that team that you can look at, but there's some negatives as well.
No doubt.
Donald, you mentioned Duke Williams right away. Why do you think he wasn't on the opening day roster of the Bills?
I think back in training camp and preseason, I'm not sure exactly what it was, if it was just a numbers thing or if he wasn't really making enough plays for them to feel comfortable with putting him on the roster. But I think that he made enough plays for them to feel comfortable and keeping him around. Mm-hmm. But they just didn't feel comfortable in having him on the field that day. But what you have is, throughout the course of the season, you have guys who might not be performing like they want, and you have a guy who might be on the practice squad or whatever the case may be, who's balling in practice. And the coaches are like, yo, we got to get this kid a shot. And I think that's what it really came down to, But back early in the season, when a guy's not on the opening day roster, it's really because the coaches don't feel like at that moment he's showing them enough to feel comfortable with putting him on the field. And that's not just offense, that's special teams as well.
Mm-hmm. Right. Because the one
that's why. Yeah, sorry about that.
Oh, the one thing I noticed about Duke Williams, he's an outstanding blocker too. So even in the running game, he can be very beneficial to the team.
Yeah, he's a big receiver, and I think he's probably learned if I'm going to play, I need to make sure that I'm blocking. He's not the superstar receiver. Even your superstar receivers are out here blocking. So if you're not that guy, you need to make sure you're doing your part. And at the end of the day, film doesn't lie. If you're out there, you're not blocking, your guys making tackles, the running backs are not going to be happy, and the coaches are not going to be happy. So he's a guy who's out there getting his job done in the running game, and then they'll reciprocate that to you in the passing game when they see you actually helping them out in the run.
Donald, the Buffalo Bills recently traded away Zay Jones to the Oakland Raiders for a 5th-round pick in 2021. I've been trying to tell people just because a receiver doesn't fit a particular system, it does not mean that Zay Jones cannot play football anymore. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's definitely correct. And people will say, well, they drafted him for this system. Yeah, they did draft him for this system, but Zay Jones has kind of it's been a tough run for Zay Jones in his first 3 years in the league. His first year, he got drafted in the second round to a team that didn't really have talent on the team. And so everybody in the city of Buffalo is looking at him as the guy who can come in here and make plays and really be the number one receiver. But he's not that type of guy. He's a guy who is going to just consistently make plays for you, more of a possession type of receiver. And so his first year, he dropped a lot of passes. I think he had a lot of pressure on him. His father played, I'm not sure, 10, 12 years in the league or something like that. He has a brother who's playing in the league. And so he had a lot of pressure on him being a second-round pick. And he didn't have a good year his first year. And then his second year, last year, he started to show some plays. But then this year, you know, he wasn't getting as much playing time. And we all know what it comes down to. It's a money game. He was a second-round pick, so he's getting paid some money. And you have a guy and a guy like Duke Williams who's not getting paid that type of money, who the coaches feel like he can do what Zay Jones can do at this time. So we might as well go ahead and keep the cheaper guy. And that's what it's a business thing. You know, for me, that was a business decision. And they went on ahead and sent him out to Oakland and gave him really a second opportunity at his career.
Right. I think he's going to do quite well out there with Derek Carr. I think Derek Carr might be the type of quarterback that can utilize the skill level of Zay Jones. Also, John Gruden is an offensive guy, too.
He certainly is. And I think, to me, Zay Jones, he runs some pretty routes. And he looks to me that he wasn't benefited that the quarterback was a rollout scrambler from Tyrod Taylor to Josh Allen now. To me, a quarterback like a Derek Carr who stays in the pocket and throws that timing pattern pass can really help Zay Jones. Because to me, his game is more timing than improvising on the football field.
Yeah, I mean, Zay Jones is definitely when you talk about Derek Carr, he's a timing quarterback. He's a guy, he doesn't have the big, crazy arm. And when you're a quarterback that doesn't have that big, crazy arm, everything has to be timing. You have to be where the quarterback wants you to be so that he can throw it on time. And then, you know, you can complete those passes. And so Zay Jones is a guy who, he's not the speed demon going up the field. He's the guy who can run routes. He can work the middle for you, that possession type of receiver. And as long as they can get on the same page and get their timing down, which is tough because now you're going in the middle of the season to a whole new system that you have to learn really fast. And they traded for you, which means they're going to want you to play. And you got to go out there and really just make plays. And so it's a hard thing for him to do. But I'm sure, you know, his father's talking to him about it. His father understands it. Like I said, he played 10, 12 years in the league. And, you know, he's just going to have to make that adjustment.
Let me ask you this, Donald. How important is it for the quarterback to take care of the football? Josh Allen obviously has had some problems through the first 5 games.
Time to go to I think it's the most important part of this game is to protect the ball. Is to protect the ball. And so I think when you talk about Josh Allen, he's a young quarterback still making mistakes right now, and he can't do that. I mean, you have a team right now that's 4-1. The entire city is looking at him right now to make big plays. I think one of his biggest attributes, obviously, is his arm, but I think that's one of his crutches as well, because he wants to rely on that arm instead of, for me, when and I don't want to sound like I'm coming down on Josh Allen, but when he was coming out of college, one of my biggest knocks on Josh Allen was he was not analyzing the field at the college level. He wasn't seeing things develop like you want a quarterback to be able to see. And I'm talking about being able to see a route actually come open before it happens and throw that ball. He wasn't doing that. He doesn't seem to be doing that still right now in his second year in the league. He's staring receivers down, and you can't do that, and it's actually ending up in turnovers. He's also holding on to the ball too long. And so when he's holding on to the ball too long, he's just throwing it up there, and the ball is getting turned over. When you have turnovers, lose. All coaches will tell you that. If you turn the ball over, you're going to lose the game. That's what it comes down to. Sometimes you get lucky and you win, but you can't do that on a regular basis and expect to win.
You're absolutely right, Donald. And I wrote in my column last week before the Tennessee game that his IQ is very low for an NFL starting quarterback. I was just surprised at how low of a football IQ he actually has, and because it's demonstrated every week by the mistakes he's making. And I think when he leaped over the Minnesota Viking defender last year, that kind of gave him a false sense that he's big enough to take on these defensive backs and linebackers. But I think against New England, when you go up against the very best team in the league, you see that, hey, man, Josh, you cannot take on defensive backs and linebackers and run up the middle and then importantly, put your head down. Oh, man, you asking for trouble.
Yeah, I mean, you got two different things there. I mean, when you talk about passing the ball and his IQ, you know, I'm not sure where in terms his IQ is, if he understands what's going on before it happens. That's one of the biggest things that's why Tom Brady is so good, because he understands what's about to happen before the play happens. I mean, he studies so much that when he lines up pre-snap, he knows, okay, they're about to rotate into a cover one or whatever the case may be. And it's not every quarterback. I mean, it's rare for quarterbacks to be able to do that. But to be good one and to be a franchise quarterback, you need to be able to do that to a certain extent. He's not showing that yet, you know, and so he's still staring down those receivers, and he's still making mistakes that you don't need to make in the passing game, throwing the ball. When it comes to running the ball, this is not college anymore. I don't care how big you are, 6'5", 6'6". You playing against grown men that have families, kids at home, people to feed. And to be honest with you, if you're a quarterback and you come through there and you're running like you're a running back, they look for that opportunity to take the big hit on you. And that's what happened in that game. And like you said, last year, he left over someone, and everybody was excited about it, his running ability and all of that stuff. I get that. But you got to be smarter than what he's showing. You're not running people over. Don't think that you can run people over in this league on a regular basis and get away with it.
Right.
Because it's going to wear you down. Either you're going to take the big hits to the head like he did and get knocked out, or you're going to take big hits to your shoulder because that's what you're using to run people over. And you need your shoulders to throw the ball, you know. And so I think he has to be smarter and just slide. Just learn to slide, man. That's all you got to do is slide, and you can have a long career in this league.
You're a baseball guy. Have you been asked for any consult on that, Donald?
Say that one more time?
I said, have they tried to consult with you? I know you have a baseball background, played a little semi-pro.
Yeah. No, they haven't consulted with me and sliding, but I'll definitely give them some lessons, man. I'll teach them how to slide and come back up on the slide like they do in baseball. What? If they need some lessons, they can put me back on the payroll. I'll be more than happy with that.
Well, I hope people out there listening and hear that, because he needs somebody like yourself to teach him how to slide and get. Because you can see now he's about to hurt himself the way he's trying to slide.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's something that when you're in college and you're bigger than everybody, you're not really taught to slide. Because I mean, a lot of guys are like, yo, this dude is huge. I'm not trying to hit him.
Right.
But you get to the league, them dudes are like, yeah, come on through here and don't slide and watch me knock you out. Like, they're looking for that opportunity. I mean, you're talking about safeties that are 6'4", 6'5", 250. You know what I mean? Like, yo, they want to take you out of this game. And so you have to be smarter than that as a franchise quarterback.
Exactly. And Donald, you notice across the league, not only Josh Allen, all these young quarterbacks tend to, the habit I see they all have in common is that they hold on to the ball way too long. And it was evident last week with Mason Rudolph with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He held that ball so long that he ended up getting knocked out cold by it. It was a legitimate hit because the quarterback was still moving. You can't tell a defender when he's trying to hit you and you still moving. You're a moving target. You can't tell if the guy gonna turn his head or helmet or whatever. All you're doing is trying to get this guy down, and that's what Earl Thomas did. He got him down.
Yeah, I mean, you know, the fact of the matter is the transition from college to the NFL is hard on any position, but it's really hard on quarterbacks. And it makes it even harder now that in the college game, the offenses are very vanilla. It's basic, you know, and so these guys are not being taught at that level to read the defense, understand what's going on. They're really just playing on athletic ability. But once you get to the NFL and you have these guys who actually study the game on defense, and they can actually, you have these guru type of coaches that can do things to you that you've never even seen. Now you're standing back there in the pocket holding onto the ball, then all of a sudden you're either getting smacked in the pocket or you're trying to take off and run, and you're getting hit down the field. You know, and so you can't, these guys have to develop more at the college level. And I don't put it on the college coaches. I mean, these college coaches are getting paid $8 million a year, $9 million a year to win games.
Right.
So we're going to win games. We win games. I don't care about developing you as a pro quarterback. I need to win games so that I can still make my money here at the college level. And so they're not developing these guys down there. These NFL coaches have to develop these quarterbacks faster than what they're doing.
Do you think these guys need to sit a little longer? Like whoever team drafts them, for example, have a veteran quarterback play at least a year so these guys can sit on the sideline, watch, and take notes and learn from watching a veteran quarterback?
No, I'm a firm believer in whatever it is that you're doing. Like me, you can show me something a million times. I still might not get it. I need to do it myself to actually understand it. Just one time, I need to do it myself to understand it. So for me, yeah, if you sit on the bench and I'm watching you play, that's cool. I'm learning a lot of stuff over here on the sideline. But when I get on the field, it's still like this game is moving fast because I've been sitting on the bench the whole year. You know what I mean? So for me, let those guys get in. But I think they need to give them more. Problem is they're getting paid so much money. Even with the new CBA, these quarterbacks are getting paid money. They're getting endorsements, all of this stuff, and they're getting pressure from the owners and the GMs to play right now, and that to be good right now. And when you draft a quarterback in the first round, yeah, we want you to be good, but not everybody's going to be good. There's going to be some growing pains for everybody,
Right.
and especially quarterbacks. You know, and I think the owners have to understand that, the GM has to understand that, and the fan base has to understand it. You know, but it's hard for fans because fans are like, oh, we're paying all of this money to come to the games. Yeah, I get that, but guess what? There's nothing I can do. I mean, this guy has to learn the game, and until he can learn the game, we're gonna have some bad games, you know. So you still gonna watch as a fan. You either gonna come to the game or you're gonna sit at home and watch it on TV, and just understand this is what it is. He's gonna go through. Some of them actually are good in their first year, but now think about it this way: how many quarterbacks are good in their first year that end up in their second year having not so good years? I mean, you're talking about a guy like Pat Mahomes right now. He's a little bit different. But a lot of these guys, even if they have great years in their first year, the second year, they kind of, fall back a little bit. And so it's just a lot of pressure on everybody to win right now, and they're not giving guys enough time to develop.
Gotcha.
Exactly.
Donald, we're going to move towards next week's games. George and Donald, we're going to talk about the New England Patriots against the New York Giants on Thursday night. What is your thoughts on that, Donald? That's one of your former teams. Tom Brady they're undefeated at this point. What's your thoughts on the New England Patriots against the New York Giants?
I mean, the Giants are sitting down a lot of guys. The Giants are sitting down a lot of different guys that they have, going through some injuries, and so they I honestly don't think they have a shot. I mean, I know Giants fans are excited about Daniel Jones, the quarterback down here, but you don't have Saquon Barkley, your key guy. You don't have Evan Ingram, I think, is going to be out for this game. It's hard to beat the Patriots. And then on top of that, now you got a rookie quarterback in there. We all know Bill Belichick is a defensive guru. He's always going to take away whatever your star player is. So you don't have all of your key players out there. Now you're shorthanded going against a guy who is going to take away your number one player. So you don't have your number one running back. You don't have your tight end that can make plays for you. Now you're just hoping that you can You're just hoping that. Hey, sorry guys, I'm on the road with somebody and we're trying to find something. If you hear something in the background, but now you're just.
Sound like you might be lost, man.
Yeah, a little bit. We're trying to get to where we're taking some back roads.
All right.
Right.
So I think when you're going against the Patriot team, hard, man. Their defense is great. That defense is great. And there's nothing you can do. They don't have playmakers on offense to get away from Stephon Gilmore. I mean, he's going to shut it down on one side, and the rest of the team is going to do their jobs on the other side. You know, it's hard to beat that team.
What do you think, George?
I think it's a blowout, and this is another reason why they shouldn't play on Thursday nights, because there's just too many injuries. Like you said, I looked at it earlier in the week. Man, the Giants are sitting out an awful lot of players. It's almost like it's a preseason game for them. They have so many guys that are not going to play.
And
right, exactly.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of the Thursday night games, period. I think it puts guys at risk for injuries. You're still recovering from the week before, from the game, from Sunday before. I mean, when I was playing, the pains that I had in the game from the game before, I didn't stop feeling until Wednesday. So now you're saying, on Wednesday, I got to get on a plane and fly somewhere if we're away and play a game on Thursday night. I mean, it's hard to do. And I don't think that is fair. I mean, the league talks safety, but we all know what it is. It's money, money, money. They make hundreds of millions of dollars on just the Thursday night game alone.
Right.
So they're not playing that game, but it puts guys at risk.
All right, Donald, what about Seattle at Cleveland? That's a 1 o'clock game on Sunday. Cleveland did not look good against the San Francisco 49ers. This is a home game for them. What do you think about that one?
You know, that Cleveland team is a little bit weird to me. I'm kind of lost on that team. And this is what happens when you just try to put a bunch of stars together. You see it in football, you see it in basketball, sometimes even in baseball, except when you're talking about my Yankees. But when you try to put a bunch of stars on the same team, it takes time for these guys to gel. And I think that's what you're having with this Cleveland team right now. These guys haven't come together as a team. They haven't gelled as a team. They got a bunch of superstars on the team, and everybody just wants the ball. You know, they want to make plays themselves instead of like a Bills team right now that actually doesn't have the superstar on top of superstars. They just got a bunch of guys out there that are good players that are coming together and gelling. So that Cleveland team, I'm kind of lost on. I think Seattle's going to win that one. Where'd you say it was? In Seattle?
It's in Cleveland.
Oh, it's in Cleveland. Yeah, I still think that Seattle's going to take that game. I think Russell Wilson, you know, he's become a superstar in his own right. He's really good. They have some playmakers on offense making plays for them. And I can see them pulling that game out.
Yeah, they came back and won on a Thursday night, so they had an extra days off. So now the extra days benefit them coming to the East Coast. I got Seattle beating Cleveland as well.
All right, another pretty good game is going to be Houston against Kansas City, two of the top young quarterbacks in the league. And the funny thing about this matchup, Donald, the Buffalo Bills passed on Deshaun Watson and Patrick Mahomes. Can you believe that? Now they're playing this Sunday at 1 o'clock. What do you think about that matchup?
Man, I'm not sure on that matchup. What's your thoughts on that matchup?
Well, I think that Houston, I was not impressed with Kansas City's defense in their first loss. And I think Houston is coming along, man. I like what they've done. They've improved the offensive line. They brought in Centrell Henderson, I think was a very good move. They made the deal for the other offensive tackle from Miami. I like what Houston has done, and I like Deshaun Watson. Of course, I love Patrick Mahomes, but he took a little bit of a beating this week in that loss against Indianapolis. So I'm thinking Houston could very well steal this game.
I have Houston winning the game. I think the book is out on KC. You know, you're going to see KC starting to come back into the pack a little bit. Their defense has never been that great to begin with, and now people are starting to figure that offense out. You come up the middle, you put the pressure, you force Mahomes to get rid of the ball, and you got your chance to be in it and have a chance to win. And you run that ball. As you can see, Indianapolis ran the ball down KC's throat last week. I see Houston doing the same thing. Houston coming away with the win.
Here's the question. Is the book out on Kansas City or is the book out on Pat Mahomes?
Oh, that's a good
That's
question.
a good question. That's a good question.
I say it's Mahomes because now as he's starting to look like he did at Texas at Texas Tech. He's starting to look a little bit more like the Patrick Mahomes in college. So like you said, that
Right.
second year, like you said earlier, Donald, when they get enough film on you, they start to see your weaknesses. And they did the same thing with the quarterback in Cleveland that doesn't like to shake hands, but go out there and still get blown out. Man, what a guy. That guy, what's wrong with that
You
guy?
sound like you're a little upset, man.
Yeah, just a wee bit. Yeah, that's etiquette. You're supposed to at least shake hands, and you know, you don't come out there and didn't get blown out. Come on.
Well, the one other game that we're going to talk about before we go, we're down to our last minute and a half, Donald. San Francisco against the Los Angeles Rams. Who would have thought that San Francisco at this point comes in undefeated against the Los Angeles Rams, last year's NFC representative in the Super Bowl? What's your thoughts on that game?
Where is that game?
That game is in Los Angeles, 405.
Yeah, that's the game of the week. Okay. I think LA is going to take the game at home. I think that you have a San Francisco team that's really on their high horse right now. To Nick Bosa, when you listen to Nick Bosa really talk trash about Cleveland, about their quarterback and all of that stuff, those guys are on a high horse right now, and that's still a young team. Right now, they're feeling really good about themselves. They're still undefeated, and I think that you have a team in the Rams that's really looking forward to this game, because I think the Rams right now feel like people are sleeping on them. They lost the Super Bowl game.
Donald, you know what, buddy? We ran out of time. We're going to have you back, my friend. We're going to have to talk more. 30 minutes goes by quick.
I think you shut down the time on me, man, so you can get me to come back.
Yeah, I'm going to invite you back. Thanks for being with me, buddy.
All right, no problem.
All right.
Take care, Donald. Talk to you soon.
All right, that's all for us here on Pro Talk. We will be back next week right here on Pro Talk.